Okay, this is a metal recipe box. I got it for free. You could do this on a plastic one. You could do this on a much larger scale. Think of a hope chest or something like that. Today we're going to pour resin. We can use molds with air dry clay, but we just wanted to use resin. It's two different ways to do it. You have to mix it equal parts and mix it very thoroughly. If you don't mix it this way, it could not set up. This sets up in 10 minutes and it's white and it is non-sticky. I have the link to these products in the description box and I will mail out very quickly. I love these for different reasons. You can quickly paint them and really wax them and manhandle them. Not that you can't with the air dry clay, but you have to really light hand paint them because it takes 24 hours for the clay to dry. Here's the different sizes I have. It is so satisfying popping these out. I like to make up a whole bunch and put them in a Ziploc and have them ready to go for later as well. See how that is an over pour on some of these? No worries. It is so satisfying to pull that off. It is not hard. Here's the new label set, and here is the stamps that they made to fit them perfectly. I'm going to show you how to do all of that so you can personalize these. My little helper is like in her 20s. I'm over my 50s, and it's fun to see how she takes her box and does it like she wants, and I totally do a whole different palette on it. The clay is still kind of formable for a while, and even if it needs to curve around a surface after it's super, super hard, you can take a heat gun or a blow dryer and heat it up, or even put it in the microwave and re-soften it to make it curvy. So we are using the Anvil color, a soft black, in the DIY one-step paint. You do not have to prime it or seal it. Now this is Farm Fresh in the DIY clay formula, and it does need to be sealed, as I will show you a really pretty shadow waxing technique at the end. Stay tuned. I had some crockery in the JRV DIY one-step paint, and so that's what the base on both of our boxes was. I knew I wanted to distress mine. I wish I would have remembered to glue my resin molds on and then paint them, because it did slip and slide and take longer to glue, because this glue is my favorite ever. I have a link in the description box. I am an affiliate associate, so I will get a small commission if you use my link at no charge to you. Thank you. So remember to do that, but you don't have to. Now I'm taking some silicone brushes, I guess you would say, and then an artist brush. If you have excess glue, just take that and wipe it off. It is so easy to get the excess glue off. This stuff usually glues and it's on there in like 3 to 6 seconds, but because I forgot my paint was still kind of wettish, it was a little slippy, but that's okay. Now Caitlin, you'll see later, she chose to paint her molds first and then stick them on her box. So here I am just stippling on this DIY paint, and I use a spray bottle to help it just flow down into all those details of these molds, and it is so fun. But if a little bit of the white shows through of the mold, I kind of like it most of the time. This is a DIY paintbrush, and it is so formulated for this paint. The bristles are makeup quality, very fine. It works with other paint too. This stamp set is brilliant. They put each in their own little case, 2 fonts, large and small letters. Guys, you gotta try this. These fit inside the little stamp labels or use the mold labels. I would get them both. This is a set to have. There is a little grid line that you'll see me putting the letters on to help you line them up. That doesn't come with it. We sell those separately. But if I see the first few sets that sell the Apothecary label stamps, I will cut one of those and put it in your order. Okay, you spell out your word, set it on your project. Even if you're doing fabric t-shirt, you just set it where you think you want it. Don't do it perfect. Then you take this mount and make it stick to there, and then you can perfection line it up while it is, see how I'm doing it? And right here, you just ink it. You can use clay paint and a brayer, but I love the ink. It's so detailed. It does take a little longer to dry than paint, but it totally works. So I am sticking it on here, and you'll see I needed 2 E's. So I am just pushing it, and then I'm going to remove the E and freehand that one, but I wish I wouldn't have. You'll see Caitlin leave it on the mount later, and it is so much easier to line up and get it even. So I would suggest that technique. You'll see it in a sec. DIY clay paint and the one-step paint are both so easy to wet distress, and then you don't have dust flying everywhere. So I'm just taking a wet wash rag. You can take a baby wipe, a Lysol wipe, and just distress the edges. It is so cute. And you will see me do a shadow wax in a minute, because this paint I'm using does have to have a wax or a water-based top coat. And I love to do this technique. It adds so much depth and character. And I did use salt wash mixed in with my paint to give it that chunky texture with my stippling technique. And then when you distress it, it's just like, oh my goodness, it looks like grandma repainted it 1,000 times, and I love it. Right here, I'm using a fan brush and my golden rule wax, best ever. You need this. The owner and creator of this paint says she carries it around in her purse because you just never know when you need it. And I just thought that was hilarious. Okay, she's getting her composition ready here. She pre-painted hers in the DIY Crinoline, I believe. And she's sticking it on there. She does all her stuff so nice and neat. And I'm just slopping my stuff on there a bit. I like both ways. So you can be more of a perfectionist and smooth and all that, or you can do it chunky funky like I do it. It's just so many options. It's a recipe box. Go for it. You cannot go wrong with any of our molds. They can be used for sugar arts. You can bake them in the oven up to like 400 degrees. They are super, super durable and beautiful. You need a iron orchid mold. Okay, here's Caitlin doing her little perfectionist word sewing like I did mine. Mine turned out okay, but I'm not gonna lie, these little tiny letters are a little bit more of a challenge to work with. So worth it. You can personalize it on little onesies, the little people's names. You can just, oh my goodness, guys, make cards, you just gotta get some stamps, especially a font stamp. We do have several. We have them in big. These are little, and I love that they made these. So really, you gotta try this out. Okay, I want you to watch how she left her little single letter on the mount to put it in. It's so much better than freehanding it on these little ones. It's just easier to get it more lined out. And she's cleaning all these stamps before she puts them out. You do want to make sure the back of your stamp is clean and that little mount is clean, or when you turn it over to stick it on your project, they could fall off and then you will want to cry. All right, she makes that look so good. So next I want to show you a shadow wax technique. You can use this with any of our waxes, which are white, dark, black, shipwrecked, which is a beautiful turquoise, and this gold, of course, and more colored waxes to come soon. So I first clear wax everything, and then you put your colored waxes in the corners or just around the edges of the molds to really give it depth and interest. And the reason you put the clear on first is the DIY is very, very porous, and it'll suck it up and it'll be too dark or too extreme. Have I done that on purpose before? Yes. But if you're a new waxer to colored waxes, go ahead and put your clear on first, and then you have more control to wipe it off, as you see I'm doing. Or even if you got it too heavy, you can put a little bit more clear over the dark wax and wipe it off, and it works as an eraser. So clear wax first, and then add your contrast just in these little edges. And I love this brush. I do sell these as well to get in the edges, or if it's a really ornate window. And I do kind of, you'll see me doing kind of a little swirl technique to kind of make sure it's blended, or a stipple technique with the colored waxes in the edges so that you don't see kind of harsh lines. See where that's harsh? And then I just wipe it back. Oh, so good. Release a video every Wednesday and every Friday. Very active over on Facebook as well. So please look in the description box if you want me to mail out any of these products. To see how Caitlin and I did these, we're going to put a link for last week's video. You got to check this out.